I don't trust people with no sense of humor. Actually, let me dial that in a little closer. I don't trust people I can't kid around with. Like asking someone at an antique store if they sell any new stuff, or asking a restaurant person if they accept Japanese Express American money. I often get the reply that they will check with the manager. And I get it, that's sort of a fine point. Ask a wait person in a bar if they sell liquor. That one will get you a lot of strange looks. By the way, I found it virtually impossible to order a single scoop of ice cream. Just try it. Be sure to emphasize single scoop. You always get a little extra. Speaking of ordering, at any fast food burger outfit, tell them you'd like a burger, any kind, and some fries, any size. You will stop the entire enterprise. But what kind of burger? I don't care, you decide. Still no luck. They simply cannot operate outside the book. Try to order a single drumstick from a chicken plate. You'd think that would be easy. They sell chicken, right? Nope, no luck there. Why can't we just get what we want? What kind of dressing would you like on your salad? I don't want a salad. It's included in the price. No, I get that. I still don't want one. What about an extra vegetable? A bowl of soup? Apparently they have food to give away. I know I'm just being difficult, but I can't help myself. I will admit that I do get all kinds of smart-ass answers, and that's fair. At the register. Would you like to open an account? No. Would you like a 10% off coupon for your next visit? No. Would you like to donate to save the pregnant gerbils? No. Would you like gift wrapping? No. Would you like a gift certificate? No. Would you like a receipt? No. Clubs. Clubs are all the same. Fill out an application to ensure you don't possess any qualifications that exceed those of the founders. Newbies become organizational supplicants. So, find 5 people or so, then get together and decide you need to start a club about whatever subject everyone is into. 12th century Peruvian candles, sheep shearing, or whatever. The first goal is to write a charter and bylaws to ensure that the club maintains the highest possible standards. In other words, keep anyone out who knows more about this subject than you do. In the strictest interpretation, clubs are not simply a peer group activity. They are largely composed of individual contributors who really don't care about what the other members of the group are doing. Clear testimony to that is the lack of volunteers for club activities. The people who do show up are always the same. The last step is to pick a leader. Choose some hopelessly anal retentive, highly annoying nerd with a punchable face that can be steered by the founders. As most of you noticed in last week's newsletter, The Busy Bee, the couples club dinner is Saturday. There is a sign-up sheet on the table by the door. Remember, no pets allowed. Please note that according to Bob, next week's Sherpa Desserts discussion group has been canceled. Also, club suicides are up 11% from last year. Not included are those who died from cement truck accidents. I think it started in the 70s with the advent of members-only jackets that men stopped wearing socks. Or was it a case of some asshole forgetting to put them on? Who decided? Nobody asked me, that's for sure, and there wasn't shit in the news. The purpose of putting a layer of fabric on your feet is to reduce chafing, blisters, and excess moisture. Feet sweat, okay? It just happened, like man buns and mullets, some of the crap that goes on today. Short socks? Was it supposed to be cool to show off your hairy ankles? Or were people suffering from hot ankles? And the latest rage is something like multicolor socks with minions on them. Expensive tailored suit coat, handmade shirt, and Daffy Duck socks. Gimme a fucking break. No, it's not cool. It's just plain dumb. Chapter 13. Running Out of Names. Chance of rain. I guess it's the National Weather Service that started the percentage chance of rain thing, but I find it to not be very helpful unless the percentages are really high. There's a 90% chance of raining dog and cats this afternoon. Okay, so very good chance it's going to rain. The dogs and cats is a whole other thing. See, dogs and cats. Instead of 90%, why not a really good chance of rain? I'm not sure where the silly percentage thing came from, but it seems that the old-time weather guys used to say things like, "There's a good chance of rain tomorrow, and our chances of rain the day after are slight." This morning our weather guy said 10% today and 20% tomorrow. Isn't that cutting it a little close? I can't get my head around that. Percentages are hard to grasp. In school, if I got a test back with a 78 on it, I'd be thinking, okay, that seems pretty good, when in reality it's crappy. 50-50 is even confusing. What 50-50 translates into, I don't have a fucking clue. Here are my proposed revisions. 5%. Very slight. 10%. Maybe slight. 20%. Maybe. 50%. Could be. 75%. I'd put money on it. 90%. Yup. Bet your ass it's gonna rain. 100%. Stay inside. Before I found my first dead guy at age 6, as recounted in my first book, Wet Dogs Can't Fly, I was the devil in short pants. I suppose it didn't help that I was the baby, and with my 2 sisters in school, I was home all day with Mom. It was decades ago, so the exact sequence of events are a little hazy. It started with 3 homemade pumpkin pies. On background, Thanksgiving was a huge and competitive event between my mother and her sister Arlene. They rotated Turkey Day every year, with an increasing level of success. A well-crafted pumpkin pie was one of the centerpieces of the rivalry. Even if you'd shown any deficiencies with your meal, a perfect pie would trump all. Starting around Labor Day, yes, really, my mother started pie practice, which was an open-ended and seemingly endless discussion with my father on the merits of one pie recipe versus another. Over time, dozens of practice pies were prepared, and by the time Thanksgiving rolled around, the entire house smelled like a Swedish bakery. In truth, the entire family, except me, were sick up and fed with pumpkin pies. Even the neighbors were over it. "Quick, hide. Don't answer the door. She's coming up the sidewalk with more pies." Once all was perfected and she'd made and admired 3 perfect pies, Mom placed them carefully in the middle of the dining room table, and then she woke the next day to a gruesome sight. Someone had eaten the middle out of each pie. The prime suspects were me and Ming Toy, the family cat. Panic ensued. Blame was cast everywhere. "You should know better than to leave them out where that rotten kid can get to them," my father roared. Fortunately, there was time to make the pies again, especially easy now that Mom could do the baking in her sleep. She actually showed me sympathy. Must have been the "what did I do?" look on my face. Speaking of Thanksgiving, my Aunt Arlene always prepared tomato aspic for the event. It's easily one of the most hideous dishes ever concocted. Sort of a tomato jello with things floating in it, made especially gross by the fact that it started melting the moment it hit the Thanksgiving table. When getting into trouble, my usual cover was faking sleep. My mother was always so grateful to have her little monster out of order for a while that she didn't ask questions like, "Are you sleeping?" There's a long list of my adventures, but one of my most famous was standing on a glass-top table in order to take custody of a favorite music box, which resided on the mantel. You can probably imagine what happened. Who knew that custom-cut glass with beveled edges was so expensive? Then there were the geraniums. You see, my bedroom had a balcony. Why, given my reputation, would you give me a balcony? Heaven only knows. It was akin to giving a chimp a machine gun. A mother placed potted geraniums along the top rail of said balcony. In my 5-year-old brain, that was a perfect opportunity to launch my first of many bombing missions. I would first firmly grasp the base of the plant and pull. Assuming dry weather, the plant would release from the pot. Then I could lean over the decorative rail, select my target below, and release. The only downside was there was only 6 plants. One day, I witnessed my father cleaning paintbrushes in a bucket in some bad-smelling stuff. To me, it naturally followed that the contents of the bucket could also be used for cleaning other things, like the family cat. Many decades have passed since that day, but I do have very clear memory of the cat not being very happy. The cat survived. My sister's room was a favorite target of mine. They had all sorts of cool stuff, made all the more fun and exciting by the fact that their room was absolutely off limits. Taking advantage of everything I'd learned from the potted plant experiment, I reasoned that dolls were perfect candidates for my next bombing mission. From a 2-story window, I could expect adequate acceleration, but this time I also had the presence of a window well down below, which made a perfect target. It was ideal for sharpening my bombing skills. The first mission was limited to 2 dolls, lest I reveal my mischief. Over time, the dolls disappeared, and the mystery of where they went created quite a stir in the household. All was solved at the end of winter when Father cleaned out the window wells and discovered the pile of missing dolls. I was subsequently convicted and sentenced to several hours of lost TV time.
Hi, Bob here with the news again. More news. That's actually the news. Now the airline with the most planes will start packing passengers in using a new method. United Airlines says its 6-group boarding procedure will be improved and save time, up to 2 minutes of boarding time. That's big. Starting in October, United says that after initial boarding groups enter, window seats will be first, then middle seats, then aisle seats. The process, abbreviated, called WILMA, which equals window, middle, aisle, WILMA. Company said in a memo from its customer service representatives, that's how they passed that on. Wow. Taglines are essential for every state, country, company, and product. Here are a few selected by our newsroom. A place to grow, get the feeling, give the feeling, never vomit in your socks. Okay. Life's too short, so forget it. Nothing like getting hit by a bus. Yikes, and don't remember to forget. Those are all should be stuck in your mind now. Unilad, a British internet media company owned by somebody or other, reports that they have a device that can be used to play back your dreams. Repeat, this is a device that can be used to play back your dreams. Talk about a driveway that doesn't go all the way to the street. Why? Who in the name of Eleanor Roosevelt thought this was a good idea? Good grief. Sorry, no way, Jose. Are you out of your mind? One-way ticket to a rubber room, hall pass to a straitjacket. Why not just stick your face in a fan? Why anybody would want to replay their dreams, I haven't a friggin' clue. Anyway, the House Representatives voted today to go on strike against itself. Dozens of lawmakers were seen on the Capitol steps carrying one reading, "We need more money too." And later a congressman from Idaho offered that we need more benefits so we can come up with a list. We'll let you know. It's been rumored that some of the demands include a 1-day work week, every other week, roughly 2 days a month. These numbers represent little change from the current work week, or should we say work month. In addition, members argue they shouldn't have to walk all the way to the House restaurant for meals, and meals should be delivered to the members' offices. So and the restaurant could go ahead and drop the kale and sushi off their menus. That's another one of their demands. And lastly in the news, the National Squirrel Association, you probably didn't know there was a National Squirrel Association, repeated that only about 20% of the squirrels can actually find their nuts. Apparently, these adorable little devils, affectionately referred to as tree rats, bury their nuts but can't remember where they buried them. Burying your nuts does help, according to the National Squirrel Association, as lost nuts later grow into big nuts and grow trees as a result. So there you have it. You're now up to the date. And again, I apologize for my halting speech. I do have Parkinson's, which is sort of one of those things. I think my brain is okay, but I just can't get myself connected to my mouth properly. Anyway, there we go. That's the news.